Hi, folks. Welcome. Thanks for joining us again for this monthly edition of Microsoft 365 Tips and Tricks. My name is Gar Whaley. I'm one of the co-founders here at Teal. I'm joined by my partner, Reed Johnston, who is not only a co-founder, but also our CIO. Reed, how you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. Get your game face on. This is live, no nets. What are the rules?
Do it live. Don't make mistakes.
20 minutes or less. We try to get to new features in Microsoft 365 Copilot that occurred in February, or just great things that we're using um,
Yeah.
and helping us be better with the ecosystem. Today, actually, Reed, I think there's a couple things that we talked about that we wanted to get to that are Gar's pet peeves. So at least two of them are, and we actually have a little bit longer, probably than 20 minutes. So we might have to kick some over to the next time. But let's get started.
Yeah, sounds
First thing
good.
that I think we want to talk about that was sort of new, Britt. As we go through this, Brittany is in the background and will be answering some of the questions that come in or helping me manage them. But if you have questions, feel free to put them in uh, the the question box. But Britt, if you could share Reed's screen, we'll get started with customizable notification, which I believe Reed is sort of new since last.
Yeah, I'll share my screen there. There we go. I can see that. So yeah, so I've got Teams open right now, and some of the recent updates in Teams have been related to customizing settings. The first one that we'll talk about is customizing notification settings. So to get to that, we're going to go way up to the top to the three little dots next to your name, and then you'll hit settings. The first one that we'll talk about is right here under notifications and activity. So the recent update was, you'd remember that the notifications would pop up in the lower right corner of your screen. Well, now you can move them to the top or the left or the right. So some changes there. That's helpful. There's a lot of other options
So
here.
Reed, just to highlight there,
Yeah.
a very interesting one is that second box.
Show notifications during calls and meetings. Yeah, mine's turned off. I think it's turned off by default.
It is turned off by default, but if you're in a meeting and not set to do not disturb, you might see a pop-up. If that irritates you or that's not the best way for you to work, you can click that. So when you're in a meeting or a call, things won't pop up. That's one that I use in different scenarios.
Yeah, I tend to put myself on do not disturb a lot because I don't want notifications and things at all. But yeah,
Is that analogous?
it's similar. If this will still show you some notifications, if you're on do not disturb, it's going to silence everything. So calls and things.
Except for your priority notifications, which we got into a few months ago. All
Yeah.
right, so what's next, Reed? I think there's one about mic, calendar, I'm sorry, microphone and video turn off.
Yeah, so this is under privacy. This is an important one. So we're still in the settings menu, jumping down to privacy here. About halfway down, turn off my camera and mic when my screen locks. So the idea here is if I step away from my computer and I'm in a meeting, eventually my machine will lock, right? That's a typical setting from a security perspective. When you walk away from your computer, it should lock. In this case, if you turn this on, it will turn off your camera and mute your mic when it locks, because you might forget that those things are turned on.
And if you are very popular or a celebrity, that will go on the internet, as we've seen.
Yep.
Hey, Reed, real quick, and I think you can go back to it. Um, there was a question about how to turn on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, sure. So right up here, back at the top, right on your little logo, your name, you can change your status right here. So I'm on Do Not Disturb right now because we're in this meeting. I often forget to take myself off of Do Not Disturb because you'll stay on Do Not Disturb until you turn it off, but you can change the duration here. So I can say, okay, an hour from now, 2 hours from now, flip me back to available. So that's nice.
The
But
other
yeah,
thing that I do, I'm in Teams right now because Reed because of this webinar, Reed may send me something.
Mhm.
So I've set to do not disturb, but I also set a custom message.
Yep.
Um, so that people know that I'm on a webinar, please hold. So custom message, and then you can time release that as well. And
Yep.
you can show it when people message me. So when they start to type, they'll see this message.
Yeah, this is my favorite one when I'm traveling, right? I've got Teams on my phone, I've got it on my laptop. People expect a fast response from me because usually I'm pretty fast when I'm at my desk. But if I'm traveling or driving around, I'll set a status message and then I'll have it clear, after an hour or after the day. And that way people know what's going on. Yeah,
Yeah, and those are not tied together. Do not disturb and status message are not tied together. So when Reed was
correct.
traveling yesterday, he had a status message, but he was not on do not disturb.
Yep. Yep.
All right, so we talked about the camera one. So let's get to what I call one of my pet peeves. And that is when I'm in a meeting, just to set you up, it's opening links within uh,
Yeah.
so let me set it up. So my pet peeve is I'll be in a meeting with Brittany. Brittany will want me to share a spreadsheet within the meeting or a document. So I'll click on that document. So now it opens up the document within Teams,
Right.
and now I can't chat with Brittany anymore because I'm looking at that document. So there's a way to not do that. But Reed, I was talking. So can you just show where how you got to files and links?
Yeah, so we jumped down from privacy. We were looking at privacy. Files and links is another section. The default is open those documents right within Teams. I've changed mine to the browser because I prefer the web apps for most things. So whenever I click one of those files, a shared Word document, a shared PowerPoint, or a Excel spreadsheet, it'll now open up a new browser window separate from Teams. So this is really helpful for me. And I've picked browser because most of the time, if someone shares a document with me through Teams, I just want to look at it quick. And I find that the browser is more efficient than opening up the desktop app because the desktop app takes a little longer. There's more stuff. So yeah, that's really helpful.
I also have mine set to browser because when I'm in a meeting for the same reason, I don't need to open up the whole
Yep.
application. Is this a newer feature? Do you know?
Yeah, it became available a little while ago. It's not brand new, but really helpful to set this to something other than Teams, I found. Yeah.
All right, I think the next one, so today, if you haven't noticed, is really going to be focused on Teams
Yep.
because this is an application we're in every day, all day. But the next one I think we want to talk about was meeting recaps and some newer
Yeah.
features or some features that we use a lot in meeting recaps.
Yep. So I'm going to pull up a meeting recap here. So the meeting recap is available to you if you have Teams Premium, which is an extra license that you have to purchase. And it's available if you record the meeting. So we've gotten in the practice of recording nearly all of our meetings. That way we can use Teams Premium or we can use Copilot. We have Copilot licenses as well to give a nice summary of the meeting. You can highlight where you were mentioned. There's a transcript as well, but this meeting recap feature is really nice. So this was a recent team meeting where I did a whole lot of talking, talked about a lot of different stuff. The feature that I want to share that's new is sharing the link to that meeting recap. It used to be that you had to go find where the meeting was in your calendar. You had to go into the chat. Well, now you can just copy that link and paste that into an email, paste it into a chat, and anyone that has access to that meeting, so they have to be part of the same team or they have to have been a participant in the meeting, can jump right into the meeting recap. And that's right up in the upper right-hand corner. So really useful. Kind of the way around it before was to open the recording and stream, which is Microsoft's video platform. And then you could share that, but then you didn't have the nice AI summary. So yeah, really helpful.
All right, so let's see. Next one I think that you said is sort of brand new is the is it called instant hyperlinks?
Yeah. So if you're in the chat, and we'll share a link like tealtech.com. So I can type in a link and it's going to give a little summary of that link. But if I'm typing something like, hey, visit our website, you used to have to highlight that and then Control K to type in what address you want, like tealtech.com, right here. And that would turn that text into a hyperlink. Now I can say, hey, visit our website. And if I have my browser open on another screen, I can just copy that URL on my other screen. And when I highlight and paste, it turns it into a link immediately. So it's a little faster. If you've got text and you want to put a hyperlink in, where I use this is I'll say, hey, check out the meeting recap. And then I'll paste a link right in there. So it's faster. So this is just another way of pasting those links in where you don't get all that ugly URL string, because sometimes those links are really long. So that's like instant hyperlinks.
Okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Reed, have a question. I'm not quite sure I understand. I'll just ask it, but Kim's asking, when she's in Teams, how can I access files in MS channels? Do you understand that?
Yeah. So if you're in, let's see, let me flip this over here just a second. If you're in a team chat, let me go into one of my teams that I have access to here. I'm kind of off screen.
Understood. And
Yeah.
of course, some of our backstage may escape here.
Yeah. Here you go. So here I'm in our account management team. And if I want to access files, I'm in my general channel. I can go up to files here at the top. And that's where you'll be able to access your files. It's loading. It takes a second here. Um, that will take you right into the folder for that channel. I can click to go up a level, and that will show me all of the files that are in this team. And there's a drop down that lets me see those files by channel. So I hope that answers your question, but it's files at the top, and then you can kind of click around from there.
Yeah, and then Kim, let us know before you change, Reed, if that answered your question, but also on earlier uh, Microsoft tips and tricks, we got into how to sync and how to look at it from your file explorer
Yeah,
and OneDrive, et cetera.
yeah.
So that's a good question. Hopefully we answered it. Looks like there's another question. Do you recommend using notes during a Teams meeting? I'm going to let you take a first stab at that.
Sure. So I always open up OneNote. I have two screens at my desk. I've got my content screen and then I've got my other stuff. I always open up OneNote docked to the left side of my screen so I can take notes. And in a future webinar, maybe future tips and tricks, we'll talk about the different features within a team, like a OneNote that can be shared for that team. So yeah, do
All
that
right,
all.
let's get to another one of my pet peeves, and that's
Okay.
Planner and to-dos. I'll
Okay.
set it up by saying we've gone over Planner, I think, in earlier versions of this monthly webinar. But my pet peeve is that I'm Gen X and my inbox is my sort of my task manager and my to-dos. And what frequently happens is Reed will send me uh, a bunch of instant messages, and instant message 10 out of 30 is like something I want to take action on or look into more. And if that was in my email, I would just leave it in my email.
Yep.
And Caden and Brittany from our marketing team, they often know where to send things based on what they're requesting. Um, so last night, Reed was texting me at about 8:30 from a plane flight, and we were talking about a lot of business and a lot of personal stuff. And he actually said something that I was like, oh, this is interesting. I need to look into this more. So Reed's going to show how to add that to Planner and add that to to-dos.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically you've got a lot of conversations happening within Teams and you want to save those messages from time to time so that you can go back to them and you forget where were they? Was it in a team chat, a group chat, a one-on-one chat? So one of my favorite things is you can hover over a message, you can click these three little dots and then create a planner task. So when I do that, it's going to open up a little window here. It takes a second, but what it's going to do is it's going to copy the text of that message into the title of the task. It's going to let me create it in my private task list. But if I open this up, I have access to all these other plans and task lists. So my default is private tasks, but you can see we've got, sales and marketing, we've got test plans, owners discussions, all that stuff. So I really like this because you can change whatever text you want, neat thing from Gar, but it'll include the text in the notes and a link back to where that chat was. So that way I can get back to it later. So if I click add task, now I'm going to bring another screen over here. This is Microsoft To Do. So this is my personal task list. In Teams, it said planner, but really one of your planner plans is To Do. So when I go into
And Reed, to be
todo.office.com,
specific about that, that to-do planner is called private what?
yeah, they call it private tasks, and in To Do, it's called tasks. So they need to work on the labeling a little bit. But you can see now I've got this item from that I just created. So if I click on that, I can click on this link and it's going to take me right back to Teams. It takes a second, but see, it kind of highlighted that message. So if that was buried somewhere from weeks or days ago, it could take me right back to that chat. So this is one of my most used things. I use this every single day to save messages. And then I'll just pop back in here. I have all of these different lists that I've created, long-term ideas, Copilot links, personal ideas, all this stuff. I triage them in this task list, and then I just drag them to where I want to put them later so I can organize them. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure on that, and we're sort of running out of time here, but full
Mhm.
disclosure on that, at 8:30 when Reed was on a plane, uh, DMing me, I was actually on my phone. So
Yep.
I was doing all that from my phone, and there's two apps that you can use from Microsoft that are connected to your Microsoft tenant. One is called Planner, and one is called To Dos. Um, so I use both of those now. Reed, we got about 2 minutes left. Are there any other questions out there? The last thing that we were going to talk about, or there were two more, but I don't know that we can get to them in 2 minutes. One was add agents or bots in chats. Can we do that in 2 minutes or less?
Yeah, we can do that really quick. So you're typing a message and check out this plus sign next to the message box. There's all these different things that you can add to your chat that you have going. So one of them is a poll. We do this quite a bit in a team. It doesn't work as well for a one-on-one chat, but if you're putting a poll into a team that has a bunch of people, we could say, what should we order for lunch Friday? Pizza, wings, or I don't know, salad. So I can preview that, and then that's what it's going to look like. And I can send it, and it'll send that poll right into our chat. And then anybody that's part of this chat takes a second. There it goes. Anybody that's part of this chat can participate in this poll. So this is great if you just want to, take a poll, get some quick answers. But there's a lot of other things that you can add, updates, and we use a tool called Stretty. There's lots of apps that you can add to your chat, and they're available under Get More Apps. So we can talk more about that in a future meeting.
Yeah, there's one more question. Poly versus Jira. Can we get into that? I mean, the basic difference is one is project management and one is collaboration, but anything else you want
Mhm.
to say about it in 60
Uh,
seconds or less?
Poly versus Jira. Yeah, so Jira is a lot more, ticketing related, more detail. Poly is going to be more of a quick, take a poll basically. So,
Great.
mhm.
So guys, we like to stick to our promise. Our promise was 20 minutes or less, and we had a few more things to get to, but it's 11:20, so we're going to sign off. Thanks so much, Reed, for sharing all your great knowledge. For next, a little foreshadowing for our next Microsoft tips and tricks is we're going to do it specifically on how to set up a Teams chat within Teams. Is that the right way to say it, Reed?
Yeah, when you set up a team, there's a lot more than just chatting. So we'll talk about that.
We'll go through all the steps. Guys, we're always available for questions. We will send out the recording. Thank you so much for joining us today and have a wonderful day.
Thanks a lot.